Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Woven Record. My name is Mike Lagerquist.
And I'm Becki True.
And we are here just as a continuation kind of what we talked about before, because we as Minnesota citizens are kind of in the heart of what's happening in our country right now.
Exactly. It's people. No, I work with people from all over the world, right? And they ask me. I've actually had people send me texts from Spain and from the UK.
Wow.
Asking me how I'm doing and how things are going, and so that that's as far-reaching as this news is going.
Yeah, and it's a little bit not daunting, but it's certainly when you're in the heart of it, it makes it that much more immediate. Of course, we talked before about tuning into Facebook and finding your neighborhood being a house surrounded by the ICE agents. So it hits home really fast. And we just wanted to talk a little bit about that and how it can affect you, but also what you can do to help out.
Yeah, and on that note, somebody was taken off of my block on Sunday. We didn't even know about it.
Wow.
And we only have 10 people, literally 10 people on our block, and somebody was taken.
Yeah, and just today, this is the 30th of January, received a message that somebody was taken from St. Peter, which is about 10 miles north of us. They were taken and they headed north about an hour. The phone call was received, evidently telling them that they had the wrong person or something, so they turned around, dropped the person back at the St. Peter police station, and just left them there. And that kind of ties in with what you've heard going on up in the Twin Cities.
Yeah, one of the things that's going on up there that we've seen reported is that there's the federal building up there, the Whipple building, and there's a pretty constant set of observers and protesters up there. But part of the organization that people are marveling at is there's people that are up there 24/7 ready to help people that are released from the Whipple federal building, because they're being released without coats, without shoes, sometimes without clothes, definitely without their phones. Nobody's been called to come pick them up, and they have no money. So basically, just dropping them out the door. And so there are people that are organized and volunteering to go collect those folks and help them get back home by getting them a coat, coffee, money, and a phone to make a phone call.
Yeah, and in Minnesota, as I would expect in most places, it's not uncommon to have these groups of people who are very dedicated to a certain subject and have phone trees or Slack messaging or some other way to get the word out right away. So when you hear people say, oh, there must be some kind of political organization behind this, it really isn't. It's just people who are used to interacting with a group of people. They've got all these structures in place and they're utilizing it in a different way. So that's one of the frustrating things you hear on the news. And we know differently, but we also know that there's no way for other people to necessarily understand that.
I think with the news coverage that's going on now, people are starting to understand that. I think they're also replicating it in other areas because they know that's a problem that they may have to face soon.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to see more of that type of organizing going on. And it might not be political now, but it might not be long before it is.
Yeah, and like you say, some of those organizations are just popping up now because they realize even if they are not being affected by it directly, that number one, they could be in the future, or number two, it also is a great mechanism for other things, including putting together some assistance for those who are enduring it right now.
Yeah, I mean, some of these folks that are doing the assistance are just shop owners up there, right? I saw one of a adult store where they are distributing funds for rent and other things because they're like, hey, we're part of this community. The George Floyd murder and subsequent protests and destruction that happened up there really helped those folks organize and help them, really strengthen their community. The folks that live in that area have a very strong sense of community,
Yeah.
and very strong sense of we need to take care of each other. So in a lot of ways, coming after Minnesota, especially in the winter, but coming after Minnesota, was the wrong move to say, these folks are going to back down, because one, we don't back down, and two, that community, that very specific community, has very strong organizational skills.
Yeah, and it shows in the way the administration is responding to things. They know if they get a message out there right away, domestic terrorist, all of those kinds of messages, that it then becomes us having to refute that. And to many people, the first message they hear is the one they believe. Why would anybody say something if it wasn't true? So there's a strong, if there's organization that's going on, I see it on the other side, because they are from the beginning having to defend what we all hope they know is not the right way to do things. So they realize you have to get your message out there before everybody else gets theirs out.
Yeah, they've had a very strong messaging game for a decade, and there's no doubt about that.
And all you have to do, you say it enough times, people believe it's true. So that's just a carry on from, as you say, 10 years ago.
Well, that is true unless there's video that refutes it, right? Which is the problem.
Yeah.
The problem that exists, when you're trying to tell the lie, is that folks are out there, a lot of them are out there with cameras and have been trained observers, and they are recording these things. I saw like 100,000 trained observers
Wow.
were registered, and I don't know about all in that area. I mean, I imagine they're around the country, but this is motivated. This has galvanized people. Mm-hmm. This has caused them to say, I don't want this happening in my city. I don't want to live like this, and they're going out and doing something about it. So, the folks that were doing the filming, they are, I saw Jon Stewart say, like, Alex was holding a weapon, and it's a 1080p, so many megapixel weapon. That was the weapon, is our cameras and us telling the truth.
And if you don't believe that they recognize that, take a look at the arrest of journalists today, trying to portray them as something they aren't. The same side that would say somebody who works out of their basement, that's always the stereotype, but then posts their stuff on Facebook is a journalist, but somebody who they disagree with and posts footage about these types of things is
a terrorist.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah. But people, if the polls are to be believed, people are not buying it.
Yeah. So
they are seeing, thankfully, again, we have cameras and are recording, and people, the woman in the pink coat,
yep,
and the woman in the car. I saw an interview with her today, so I've watched the interviews with both of those folks, and heck yeah, they were scared when guns, you get 10 gunshots right in front of them. It's going to get your attention, and you see a person dead in the street. But they kept filming, and they spoke up, and they're showing courage, and we all need to show courage.
Yeah, and speaking of which, we've got a Nicollet County is just north of us here, and one of the county commissioners went out and was in her vehicle and pulled over and was talking to some folks from Department of Homeland Security and saying literally, I know the people around here. If you want to show me the list of folks who you're looking for, I'll go and get them for you. And of course, there was no list, so they couldn't do anything but kind of confront her in a way, but she played it very cool and kept asking the right questions to kind of show that they're not who they're being portrayed as.
Yeah. And we have some other reporting that happened this week about some of the cases, the immigration cases up there, 61 cases in a week, and 60 of 61 were determined not to be valid.
Yeah.
And so the one case would be what all of us would agree on. One person has committed crimes like assault and robbery and things like that. So yes, that person we would all agree would not be welcome to stay here. I don't think anybody has a problem with that.
Right.
But you don't need to round up all the usual suspects and unusual suspects and knock door to door. And if you aren't aware of this, this is true. They are going door to door saying, do you have any Asians in there? And that
couldn't be more obvious.
So that is not what we're about. I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I'm not a lawyer of any kind, for that matter. But none of us want that.
Yeah.
And given the technology that exists and the tracking that exists and the ability to track people's phones and so on and so forth, it shouldn't be that hard to go find the folks that you really need to go find. So that's another thing people aren't buying.
Yeah.
You know, you lose your legitimacy, right? You tell lies and you do things that are contrary to what we all know to be true, and then you try to tell us that it's not that. You lose legitimacy, and people just aren't going to believe what you're saying anymore.
Yeah, and the fact that they had evidently been told that they did not need a judicial warrant in order to get into somebody's house. Well, yes, you do. There's a little thing called the Fourth Amendment that says you need to have that in order to be let into the house. So I was watching, I hate to make this kind of lighthearted analogy, but watching a movie about this week, Sinners, about vampires. And in lore, you have to invite a vampire into your house, otherwise they stay out. And that, to me, just rang true as far as ICE coming to your house. They need that invitation to be let in.
Yep, except under certain circumstances, but most of the time, you cannot come in.
Right.
And you don't have to let them in, and you don't have to answer your door, and you don't have to say a word. That's another amendment. You do not have to say a word. So anyway, I just also want to say that I'm really proud of the interviews I've seen with Minnesotans over the past few weeks. And also proud of what I've seen from reporters reporting from Minnesota. A lot of people have come to Minnesota this week, reporters, to do their shows from here, and I particularly enjoyed some with Katie Fang this week, and because she tried to talk to regular folks and kind of embed with them a bit, and just seeing how articulate Minnesotans are and how empathetic they are, which I know in some circles isn't a plus, but for most humans, being empathetic is a plus. And then how just it was ordinary people stepping up to fill in the need and showing up on a regular basis. You and I both know people that are up there doing that kind of work.
Right.
And I'm proud of them, and I'm proud of people I don't know, and I'm proud of them for showing up in the cold. It's even I realize I'm moved back to Minnesota, so I had a bit of time away, but it's even cold for Minnesotans. Yeah. I mean, it's truly cold out there if you're standing out there for hours, and they're doing it, and they're showing the rest of the world this is how you do it.
Yeah, and even locally, we've had people out at the end of our Veterans Memorial Bridge who have been just getting the message out there and saying that we don't agree with this, and we're going to fight against it. We've got the regular group that's always out every Wednesday outside by the post office, and that goes back decades.
Right.
But that spirit is alive, and in a case like this, you don't want to poke the bear, because the bear is going to be ready, and it's going to be able to put together a sentence. It's going to be able to create a sign that looks good, that has correct spelling and a correct message to it. I'm on Facebook. I can't believe all of the loon images that I've seen showing support for what's happening here in Minnesota. And God bless all of you for what you can do to show that, and what you will do, you'll be ready for it if it comes to your town.
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about that. So again, having talked to a bunch of people this week from all over the world and the country, they're asking, they're saying things like, if they're in the U.S., they're saying things like, I don't know what I can do too much beyond go participate in, like today, it was a general strike. So some folks that I know are like, I can do that. I can pull my child out of school. I can go participate in the general strike. I can go to a rally and do that. But I can't really do much more than that. And we're like, that's enough.
Yeah.
I mean, if that's what you can do, that's enough. So, do what you can, where you can, when you can. And that's what you can do. We also have the standwithminnesota.com page that you can go to, and it has a whole bunch of sites on there. You can also go online to your subreddits. Like we have a Mankato subreddit, we have a Minnesota subreddit, there's a Twin Cities subreddit, and on all of those there are lists of mutual aid groups that you can go to, and they're in Discord. If you have a local Discord group, you can go there and people will see things there. And if you don't, then start adding them. Start saying, hey, here's how you can help. Here's where I'm going to drop off food, or support a march or a rally. You don't have to do a whole lot. I mean, just standing on a corner with a sign, people that's a thing.
Yeah, and there are some things that we need. We need food, we need clothing, that sort of stuff. When you're going out to buy, think about the people who are benefiting from your purchase. Buy local when you can. Don't go on to the big multinational online things. Many of the places, as you mentioned earlier when we were talking, have their own direct online shopping opportunities. Utilize them so that the money that you pay goes to those employees and to those folks who will benefit from it. If you have some places in town, as we do, that are limiting their hours, or they're saying, we're not going to open the door unless you come and identify yourself, because they're trying to protect their employees, many of which are family members from certain cultures. These are folks who are trying to be very protective of themselves. Search those places out if you support them. If you don't, just please stay away from them, because they're just trying to live their life.
Yeah.
But go and support your local places of business, because those are the ones who are going to, they're going to be there for you if that opportunity arises.
Yeah, and I'm zooming out a little bit even. Again, what we're trying to do at the Woven Record is help build community and rebuild communities. And so what we're trying to do is help get the news of your local community out there. So we're starting here where we are in Mankato, Minnesota. We hope to add other sites. So if you're a journalist or a storyteller, or you just want to tell what's going on in your local area, please share it with us at stories@wovenrecord.com. We will be happy to work with you and happy to get you set up and get your community site set up on our page and on our YouTube channel. But even short of that, spend local. Right. You're going to support your local community. You're going to support the person that coaches your kids' ball team. You're going to support somebody you go to church with. You're going to support the teacher or whatever. You're going to keep your community going and keep your community strong. And as we can see from what's going on right now, we're going to need those communities. We're going to need you to be strong and supported in your community. And even if everything turns out great tomorrow, we wake up tomorrow and everything's all happy and wonderful, we still need those communities. Right. So spend local, help revive your local downtown, your local Main Street, help revive what's going on in your community by keeping things local as much as possible.
Yeah, I work with a lot of nonprofits. I've done a couple of stories for the Free Press newspaper, and Mankato is very lucky because we've not only got a lot of established nonprofit organizations, but they are not only there, but they're growing, they're taking opportunities. One of the big things they do is collaborate well between each other. So if there's something that they specialize in, but one of their clients needs something else, they refer them to the other nonprofit. So look around your community and find out what those needs are and see if there's some way you can help fill that.
Yeah, and share those stories with us as well. As you've seen from our past stories, we've highlighted some of these nonprofits, and we're going to continue to highlight nonprofits. So share those stories with us, because we want to tell what you're doing to help your communities and help each other.
And if you've got, I've done a couple of stories on our Martin Luther King Day celebration. Includes awarding Pathfinder Awards to people who have in our community, both an adult and a youth and a business, I believe, that have lived up to Dr. King's dreams and how they've contributed to that. I've gotten to talk to a couple of them and been very impressed. One is a 16-year-old high school junior, and she said, "I can't believe I'm going to be a senior next year." And I said, "Having heard your resume, I'm surprised you're only a 16-year-old. So there are people out there who can really act as strong role models. Maybe it's you. Don't be ashamed to point that camera in your direction too, because we need to highlight the good things in our community, because all that really does is act as an incentive for others, and we need that more than ever.
Sure do. We need you, and we need each other.
Yep.
And that's what we should be focused on. And let's get at it.
Yeah, the rest will take care of itself, as they say.
Yep.
So you hear what we're up all about. We hope you'll visit us often. Look for some contact information below the video here, ways that you can get involved. But please, like, share,
Subscribe.
do everything, subscribe, because we are the Rolling Record, and we want you to come. And why do we want them to come?
Because we think you'll like it here. Thank you. Stay safe.
Bye.